In this video, I'm going to show you a quick, extremely simple, yet extraordinarily powerful tool that sets elite practicers apart from everyone else. It's just a 3-step method. So first of all, ask yourself, in what I just played, what went wrong? Secondly, choose one thing from your list of what went wrong. And thirdly, decide, how do I need to change my practice to eliminate that problem the very next time I repeat the passage? All right, let's go through some examples. Let's say we played a wrong note and we want to fix it so that we never get that note wrong again. We need to first find out why we played it wrong so that we can then figure out how to change our practice. So, did we just lose focus for that moment when we played, or did we misread something when we were learning the bar to begin with? Is there a technical challenge as we play that makes getting our hand into the right position more difficult? Are we overstretching for a note, or are we not feeling a big enough gesture? Maybe our brain just needs more time in that passage today. So in order to tackle this, we're going to use an octave passage from one of my arrangements, the Raiders March from Indiana Jones. We're going to start here in measure 61. I haven't practiced this piece in a few months. We're just going to jump in at performance tempo and see what goes wrong. So here we go. Okay, there were a whole bunch of things, so I could create a whole list of things that need fixing. There was inaccuracy in the notes in a handful of bars in the right hand and in the left hand as well, right? There was not as much shape as I would have wanted in some of the passages, especially some of the ones that were climbing and less repetitive. There was a little bit of tension creeping in the hand as I went through the whole passage. Let's call the list good there for now. The thing that I want to fix today, because it's going to have the biggest impact on every practice moment going forward, is let's get rid of all of the tension that happened in the right hand across the octave passage. There's probably going to be a couple secondary benefits from doing that. So what tools do I need to make sure that I employ the next repetition I do, because that's the focus, releasing the tension? One, the tempo is going to come way down from performance tempo. The dynamic is going to drop exceptionally down. My main focus, however, is going to be on the release of the wrist and the release of the fingers after every single octave. So I'm going to start in the same bar, and we're going to make all of those changes to the next repetition. Okay. Now, did I fix every single thing that went wrong? No. But I was sure that every single octave that I played in the right hand had an exceptional release of the octave. That was the priority. And guess what? No tension creeped in. I played through the entire thing, and I fixed that one particular goal. Does that mean it's going to be fixed at tempo in the next repetition? No, of course not. But it means I identified a problem, and instead of going a few repetitions and saying, well, maybe it's just going to work itself out and the kinks are going to work out, no, I said, here's the problem. I need to fix it right now in the next repetition. And then as I work on building more and more things into repetitions, the next one may fix a different problem and then a different problem. And now we're maybe 5 or 10 reps in, and we've tackled a whole number of things, and they all continue to work and continue to work and continue to work. Every repetition, one after another. All right, let's change this up. What if we don't make the phrase that we wanted to make or that we intended to make? Again, we need to find out why it didn't happen in the first place. So Are we too unfamiliar with the notes that we don't have the brain space to think about phrasing yet? I mean, if that's the case, then phrase isn't today's problem. Instead, you should be focusing on a more comprehensive understanding of the notes and the rhythms and the gestures we're making to execute all of that. But going back to phrase, are there multiple voices that are maybe confusing our ear or pulling our concentration or attention around? Or maybe is there an issue with a finger choice? Did we write in a bad fingering? Is there a better fingering? Or maybe even more likely, is there a less practiced or a less coordinated finger causing our phrase to be interrupted and not cohesively shaped? For this, I've pulled up a Busoni arrangement of some Bach, and we're just going to jump in to the fourth bar and take a little listen, and let's see what happens and what goes wrong today. Okay, so once again, I could have a whole list of things that I didn't like about what just happened in that passage. Among them, I was overly aware, if we stick with phrase for the moment, I was overly aware of the topmost line and not enough aware of the other counter-melodies, the other voices that existed. We're actually going to come back to that in a second, because further on my list, in measure 4, 5, 6, there was a little uncertainty about where the hand should go for some of the pitches. And then second half of measure 6, there were just some completely wrong pitches, just totally wrong. For our purpose today, we're going to go back to phrase. And we're going to say, okay, I really want to understand better what's happening in the inner voice. The inner voice so often gets left behind if we're focused on the top or if we're focused on the bottom. So I want to understand more what's happening in the inner voice. I have a lot of tools at my disposal that I could use in the next repetition to work on bringing that out. We could first of all just give ourselves the first note. How about? That's the note we're going to play. We're starting in the second beat of measure 4. And I could just play the left hand and sing the phrase that I need to understand. Do I know by ear, do I know the phrase well enough that I can even sing it? We're going to skip over that one today, and we're going to move on to a different tool. I'm going to play all of the notes in the bar, but I'm going to really focus on not phrasing all of the voices exactly how I want them to be in performance, but phrasing out, bringing out, and showing great shape to the inner line that I want to give a lot of attention to. So everything else is going to just get dropped behind. I'm going to play the right notes in the right rhythms, hopefully, fingers crossed. But the focus is going to be on hearing and understanding and executing a better shape. That's the one focus of the next repetition. So I want to bring out, starting with that low G in the right hand. Yeah, good. So what did I do to change my practice? The tempo got brought way down. All of the other voices that weren't a part of my focus got pushed to the background. And I took a little bit of time, even taking a couple of things out of rhythm where necessary, to make sure that I was going to phrase, show good phrase, and bring out that inner melody line that I wanted to give a lot of attention to. I would do a few more repetitions of that, sure. But the very thing that I didn't like, one of those things that I didn't like about the first repetition, I address it and I make changes in how I approach the bars or the chunk so that the very next time there's a dramatic difference. In this video, we tackled one technical issue and one musical issue, but the possible issues that we can identify, right, in every single repetition of our practice, those possibilities are vast. And we even talked through some of those in these two examples, right? The elite fix isn't hoping it's going to get better on the next repetition. It isn't identifying the problem, but then not changing our approach. It isn't hearing 10 things that need to be better and then trying to address all of them in the next repetition. What it is picking one simple mistake. Mistake doesn't mean wrong notes, wrong rhythms. It could mean not a good enough phrase, right? One mistake, and then changing the way that we practice so that mistake is gone on the very next repetition. And then it stays gone on all subsequent repetitions. So listen, identify, and then consciously fix. That's how professional musicians can prepare hours of concert programs with only a couple hours of practice per day. It's not that mistakes don't happen for them or for others. It's that mistakes are only allowed to happen once. Now, there are dozens of tools and manipulations of music and our technique that we can use in our practice to fix problems once we find out what they are. I go into a huge number of those in my course, Mastering Your Practice. There's a link down below. And we also dive into a huge number of these every month in the practice audits in Next Level Pianist Academy. The link to that members group is also down below. So remember, 2 purposeful repetitions are 100 times more effective than 10 minutes pounding away and hoping things are going to get better. Thanks for watching. Hit that thumbs up button if this video helped you. And I've got a great video for you over here on how to better work on your slow practice. I'll see you next time.